Great. Thank you for waiting. I'm going to call tonight's meeting to order. All rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next, roll call.
Councilmember Murray.
Present.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Mayor Matsumoto Wright.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Here.
Councilmember Woodard.
Accounted for.
And Councilmember Payne Donovan.
Remotely or attending remotely via teleconference.
And Councilmember Sonmore asked to be excused.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to excuse Councilmember Sonmore.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
She is excused. Is there any late changes in the agenda?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have two changes. First is on your consent calendar. It's item D, as in dog. That is the resolution for the 2024 property tax levy. The other change is item number 7. That was the public hearing scheduled for this evening. We would like to move both of those items to a special meeting on November 29th in this room at 7 p.m. For a public hearing for those items.
Do we need a vote on that?
Sure, we can take a vote.
Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to remove item 3D and item 7 from the agenda. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
It has now been moved.
Thank you.
So next is a consent calendar, Mayor Pro Tem. Oh, no, am I in the wrong? Oh, I'm sorry, public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Nobody has signed up in person, and if anyone in the online audience would like to speak, please use the hand raise tool. Going once, going twice. There are no public comments.
Is there anyone in the audience today, right now, who would like to come up? If not, we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve the consent calendar items A, B, C, and E.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is a very, very special recognition of the Eagle Scouts, and we have 2 of them. So Kent Court Match, you're up. Isn't it on?
Is it on now? Okay. Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and City Manager. I am Ken Courtmatch, the Parks and Facility Superintendent for the City of Mountlake Terrace, and with me is Molly Luna, the Chair of the Recreation Park Advisory Commission. And this evening, we will be recognizing 2 scouts for doing projects in the park system for the City of Mountlake Terrace. Could Zachary O'Connell and Patrick Coatlis please approach the podium? Yeah, come on over. There you go. Okay. Achieving Eagle status for the Boy Scouts of America is not an easy task. One of the many requirements is to do a volunteer project that benefits the local community. Both these young men did projects within the park system. I'll start with Patrick Coatlis. Patrick approached the Recreation Parks Department with an interest in completing an Eagle project at the end of 2022, actually. And after meeting with staff on site at Ballinger Park, he opted to install 3 benches near the new play equipment that was going in down at Ballinger. The city purchased the frames, and Patrick secured donations for the wood and concrete and then began the installation. Unfortunately, in his case, we had ordered the bench frames, and it took Patrick quite a while to get them in there, but it wasn't his fault. The frames we got, and if you've been watching the pictures, were the wrong type of frames. If he'd have put them in the ground, you'd have actually been looking up at the sky when you were sitting on the benches. So we sent the frames back, and we ended up getting replacement frames, but that took like another 2 months for them to come back. So he wasn't able to actually finish his project until the beginning of October. However, they did arrive. He then got all the wood donated, put it all together, and there's the bench to actually frame. If you see it, you would have been staring up at the sky. So he did actually get it all completed, and then it was actually in October. So the City of Mountlake Terrace would like to thank Patrick with a certificate of appreciation, which the chair of the commission will read.
I'm very honored to present the certificate of appreciation from the City of Mountlake Terrace, presented to Patrick Cotwis. So on behalf of the City of Mountlake Terrace, in recognition of completing an Eagle Scout project, installing 3 trail benches at Ballinger Park, we appreciate your hard work and your dedication to public recreation facilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrick. Zachary O'Connell was the second one. These are two completely different projects. They just happened to end at about the same time. Zachary had contacted us, as well as with a couple of other scouts, with an interest in a trail reclamation project at the Terrace Creek Overlook, which is a pocket park we have over on 236th. Zachary's project is part of a larger project overall, where there's a couple other scouts that are going to do other little sections of it, but they're each individual projects. So Zachary had several volunteers and removed over 3 dump truck loads out of that trail. And if you've watched any of the pictures going by, it was a completely overgrown section of trail. And in one weekend, they went in with numerous volunteers. I think you had 15 on the first day and had like 7 more on the second day, and completely reclaimed the whole area. So he's made it a safe and clean trail, and there are other projects planned at the same park. So the City of Mountlake Terrace would like to thank Zachary with a certificate of appreciation, which the chair will read.
So I'm happy to give to you the certificate of appreciation, and is presented to Zachary O'Connell on behalf of the City of Mountlake Terrace in recognition of completing an Eagle Scout project at Terrace Creek Overlook, reclaiming a nature trail along Lion Creek. We appreciate your hard work and your dedication to public recreation facilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Zachary and Patrick. I would imagine that the council would like to thank you themselves, and maybe take a quick photo up with the council if possible. And if the family would like to be involved, that'd be great too. Ricky, would you like to address how people should get into a photo? To you guys.
Family, if you'd like to be in the photo, you're welcome to join. You want to sing?
Mom, you want to be? Yes.
Yeah, go on. Everybody get up there.
Make sure you're not flushing. Thank you. Perfect. And you.
It's a big enough crowd. Maybe I'll wait and
All
when
right,
you do the
everyone's gonna have
individuals.
to get in nice and comfy.
Making space for the family first. Why don't you guys?
Yeah, good idea. So. All right, and everyone take a step toward me. Promise me, step, big step, come on. Patrick, be the leader. Show everyone how we're going to take a step forward. Okay, we got the flag. All right, I have everybody but Councilmember Ryan. Okay, let's take a look. That looks good. Everyone keep looking at me. We want to give everyone have a nice picture. Let me see how we're doing. A couple more. It's totally fine. I do anything to deserve everybody. This is why this was my favorite. I'm short, like, I'm used to being
Thank you.
Especially given the pain and suffering of that situation.
And thank you, Patrick and Zachary.
Awards?
Words.
Or- If you want to. Before you guys leave, I think some of the council members would like to say something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead,
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Woodard.
Welcome to the floor. Really, absolutely, just want to echo what our chair and what our Parks Director have said, which is thank you for this amazing work. And really, just thank you for adding to the legacy of the great work Scouts have been doing for this city for a long time. That is absolutely honorable. I look for as many of the actual projects as we can find throughout the city, and it's always amazed to see if we didn't have folks like you, this, whatever it is, wouldn't necessarily be here. So really just want to pause and say thank you, and also to recognize the families. You know, it really does take all of you. So you might say, oh, I didn't do anything. Who are you kidding? You probably fed this young man. You probably cleaned up after him, things, and you probably just did that right before this meeting, right? And so all that's to say thank you all for this, the wonderful contributions that you bring to this city, and you're deeply appreciated.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Well said. Nope, sorry. I didn't leave any room.
Well, I guess not. I'm also one of those moms of an Eagle Scout project, and my son did it in Mountlake Terrace too, and Ken Courtmatch was even here at that time. So it's been a while. So thank you so much. It's really an honor to be an Eagle Scout. Not everyone makes it. Okay, now let's move on to the presentation of the annual report by the Economic Alliance of Snohomish County. Who is going to be giving the presentation? Oh, it needs to get turned on.
Good afternoon. There we go. Nice to be here. Good afternoon, council members, mayor. Happy to be here and present to you some of the great work we've been doing with the Chamber of Commerce and in the Mountlake Terrace community. So just want to point out that this is a collaborative partnership between the City of Mountlake Terrace, the Economic Alliance of Snohomish County, and the Mountlake Terrace and Briar Chamber of Commerce. It's just great to bring all of these partners together to really uplift the chamber and business community in Mountlake Terrace. So a little bit about me. You know, I've been an economic developer for close to a decade. I do also serve the University District in Seattle as an economic developer. Recently leveraged $5 million of Department of Commerce funding to implement a tenant improvement program, which supported just over 140 businesses. Currently working on commercial vacancy strategies and continue to provide technical support and have done so for over 300 businesses in the last couple of years. So just really able to leverage a lot of the lessons learned in the University District and bring them to this community to help uplift all the businesses that currently reside here. So some of the goals and strategies we've outlined over the next couple of months to a year is really just building cohesion and collaboration throughout the economic ecosystem. So engaging businesses, nonprofits, service organizations, and public agency partners, managing and facilitating community coordinating meetings with nonprofits and service organizations, managing and facilitating chamber member-to-member meetings, growing that membership base, and uplifting the Mountlake Terrace Briar Chamber of Commerce. We're also here to discover opportunities for business retention and expansion, so developing a robust BR&E survey to discover some of the challenges and the opportunities that are present in our business community, especially focused on the ground floor commercial space businesses that really kind of revitalize or vitalize the public realm in Mountlake Terrace, and really supporting the expansion and relocation of those businesses as we kind of focus in on current commercial spaces that are available and sitting vacant, as well as those that will come online with new development. So some of our recent initiatives, again, uplifting the chamber. We hosted a strategic planning workshop where we discussed a couple of guiding principles for the chamber, looking at the vision, mission of the chamber, talking about their revenue stream, their financials, and kind of laying out a calendar for the year in terms of when we'd have board meetings, networking meetings, and all of those great things that the chamber is currently providing. We also have hosted 4 networking events. In June, we went to Zeke's Pizza, which you have a photo there when it was still warm and sunny outside. In August, we went to Hemlock Brewing, September, Sorelli Pizza, and just yesterday, we were at Hadiani African Restaurant. So this is really just a great opportunity to, allow the business community to meet each other, to build relationships, build those connections, and kind of leverage those relationships to, help each other out, whether that's resources or, other things that, business owners can learn from when connecting with each other. We've also developed an online presence for the chamber, so developing membership pages, networking events pages, board bios. We're currently in the process of working on a comprehensive plan page to update the business community about all the great work we're doing with the advisory group, and a member-to-member page, which will allow business-to-business discounts for members. Throughout this process, we are focused on recruiting new members. So since June, when we started this partnership, we've increased membership by 92%. We're up to 25 members, and we kind of continue to focus in on growing that membership base to really create a unified voice in the business community. Brand and identity development. So we do have a logo and a brand that you kind of see up here, but we really want to make sure that exemplifies the chamber's mission and their vision. So we are currently in the process of reimagining this logo that's going to be clear and concise and really kind of highlight the value the chamber brings to the community. And then the last picture here, again, some of you have been part of this, Jeff, Steve, the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Group. Just really excited to be a part of this process and to continue to advocate and provide guidance in terms of what the business community needs in this long-range comprehensive plan. So lastly, the community coordinating meetings that we've been hosting, and again, the focus of this meeting is to bring together community-based organizations, faith-based nonprofits, educational institutions, getting them all in the same room to really leverage their resources and opportunities, and just getting people connected to build that cohesion and those relationships within the Mountlake Terrace community. And lastly here, just making sure we're aligned with what the city's doing. So meeting with Jeff and just, again, understanding what the city's role and, vision is for economic development, and making sure that the chamber is supporting that in any way possible. as well as engaging and building relationships with the local developers. So obviously, Mountlake Terrace is going to, transform over the next decade, and making sure we're getting ahead of that transformation through those relationships with the developers, understanding what they're planning to do, and really kind of leveraging that partnership to push those developers to, implement measures that are helpful for the business community, especially in relation to the ground floor commercial spaces they develop. Okay, as we move into 2024, still a lot of work to do. Really just a continued focus on membership recruitment. Again, really building cohesion and a unified voice for the business community. Continued facilitation of these community coordinating meetings, getting folks in the same room to collaborate and to leverage opportunities. We're really going to hit the ground running on a business retention and expansion study, again, focused on ground floor Mountlake Terrace businesses, specifically to understand what challenges they're facing, the opportunities that they have in front of them, as we try to support the commercial ground floor economy, helping understand which businesses are primed for expansion to fill some of the vacant spaces currently in the neighborhood, as well as those that are going to come online with new development. Continued support with the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Group. Really excited for the economic development portion of that group, and again, just kind of highlighting the opportunities that plan can have on the business community and the local economy. And again, focus on current and upcoming ground floor commercial spaces. Really need to build strong relationships with developers, property owners, brokers, and prospective businesses, especially if we want some of these newer developments to attract businesses which are going to really vitalize the public realm and activate that public realm. And that's it. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all, and happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
All right, do we have any questions from the dais here? Oh, Councilmember Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. And thank you, Daniel. Appreciate the presentation and all of the work that you've been doing in partnership with our Chamber of Commerce. So a couple of questions. One, I'd be curious, and you're probably a great person to answer this given that you also work in King County. I think one of the interesting things about being a border city and bordering a community in a different county is oftentimes there's not as much connectivity there. And so one of the things that we did recently was had dinner with the Shoreline City Council. But I guess I'm curious in thinking about kind of business expansion and retention and, perhaps folks who are outgrowing spaces immediately to our south or maybe even further to our south in Seattle. I guess I'm curious how we, learn more about that and also support that as well. Since oftentimes I know a lot of that work is county-based. So I'd just be curious if you have any thoughts there or ways that we could potentially support, just recognition that because we are a borderline city to another county, that there is not as much connectivity there as there might be otherwise.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the values in terms of all the work I've done down in the University District is I have a lot of relationships, and especially with the business community, with brokers, with county partners, key stakeholders. So as I embark on both of these roles, I get to leverage the understanding of what's happening in King County and those relationships, and well connected with all the businesses in the University District. So as these commercial spaces are coming online, I will definitely be leveraging those relationships to see if folks want to move up into this community, because I think as I look at the expansion of a lot of the businesses down in the University District, they do expand up north. A lot of them are already have second locations in Linwood or Edmonds, so I think that's a great opportunity.
Thank you. No, and I think that's I know one of the things that we heard, or at least I heard earlier this week when we had an open house in regards to our comprehensive planning, was how much our community appreciates our local businesses and the small businesses that we have. And so I think there's also a lot of that in the University District. And so helping to foster businesses of all kinds to come to Mountlake Terrace. But I think there is a particular care and fondness for the fact that we have some really amazing locally owned small businesses, and would love to continue to grow that presence here locally. I took so many notes. Do we have goals around kind of where we want to be as far as Chamber of Commerce membership here if we look a year from now? So we're at 25 and we've grown, it sounds like almost 100% in a fairly short period of time, which is amazing. And, you know, those numbers are still, we've got lots of folks, lots of businesses in our community who are not part of the Chamber yet. So I guess I'd be curious if the board has set goals or when they might do that.
Yeah, that's a great question. The board has not set any membership goals. I think, you know, our efforts are just growing as quickly as we can and getting people engaged. And even if they don't become members, you know, allowing them to utilize those networking opportunities to meet one another. You know, all those networking opportunities are, you know, free as of right now. So, you know, we just want to provide an outlet for businesses to meet each other and connect and feel like their voice is heard. And membership is obviously beneficial for the chamber in terms of revenue and sustainability, but we're really focused on kind of that relationship building and networking piece. But it's a great point, and something I'll probably bring up at the next board meeting is we probably should have a target for membership at the end of the year.
Yeah. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Excited to hear and see how that continues to grow. I guess I'd be curious about the idea of potentially, and because I don't know what the membership cost is, and since you mentioned that revenue piece, you know, if there's perhaps larger businesses in our community who might be interested in sponsoring some of our smaller, newer businesses to be part of the chamber, at least, you know, for a year or two as they continue to grow their business. I think we've had a lot of great folks come online here in the last year or so, and it'd be nice to see them be part of the organization if they're not already. So I guess my only other comment or question would be, it sounds like you've got lots of good stuff coming up. I would love, and I'm sure the council as well would appreciate getting invites or calendar invites, or just kind of it sounds like you have an agenda of calendar items for the year. It would be great if, I don't think I've seen that, so at least not in my council email, so I would love to get that so we can make sure to get those on our calendar and join you when we're available.
Definitely, and I could connect with Jeff and make sure all of you are on that email list. We do have a holiday party coming up in December, so I will make sure everybody gets that email. I hope you can make it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of the work.
Yeah. It's December 12th, so mark your calendar, 6 to 8 p.m.
Councilmember Woodard?
Thank you, Mayor. And I apologize. Was that last question about this community coordinating meeting? Okay, I was like, did I like this glitch out? What happened there? The community coordinating meeting, I'm going to be embarrassed. I wasn't there, right? Like, it looks very familiar. You see all these faces, but I'd love to hear just a little bit more about it, more so because I don't think I was there. I just feel like I was there. So I'll start there, and then I have a second set of questions.
Yeah, I do not think you were there. We did have a great showing. We had about 25 individuals representing a variety of organizations, from, you know, the county economic developer to the fire department to faith-based institutions to educational institutions. You know, that's really, again, building this cohesion and this network of collaboration in the community. So, you know, a perfect example is, you know, some of these organizations had, for example, a bunch of food that they needed to get rid of, and it was going to spoil. And there were, you know, other organizations that needed that type of food, right, that they could donate, had that network. So it's really just bringing those people together to leverage some of the opportunities that exist in this city, because otherwise, again, that opportunity would be squandered because nobody would take advantage of it. So really, that's kind of the main goal. You know, I think as we have those meetings, I continually ask and learn from those individuals of what they want to get out of those meetings. And it's, you know, it's an iterative process. So as we continue to have those meetings, as I learn more about the value we can bring to those organizations, we'll continue to adapt and, you know, shape those meetings based on the needs of those organizations.
So I'll just put a plug in. I would love, if it's not going to disrupt the process, to be a part of that, either representing an organization or representing the city, or both, since I will do both no matter what. So my question actually is looking at the strategies, and really, you know, this looks wonderful. I have had the opportunity to see your work, collectively speaking, individually speaking, so I know it's great investment on our part. But when I think about our residents, I'm trying to think, what's something tangible I can ask here? So that said, kind of a two-parter. One, when you're looking at Mountlake Terrace, because historically speaking, we've been at this for a while to try to build this concept up. What's been a challenge you didn't anticipate that maybe we can grapple with? And then what's been something that's actually been, hey, who knew that was going to be a lot smoother that maybe we can build upon as well? And again, I'm just looking at it from the council's lens. Is there something we can do to make this work? Because you're not going to be here forever, and soon they're going to have to fly on their own, but we want to be the wind under their sails, under their wings.
It's a great question. I think one of the challenges is just the physical environment in Mountlake Terrace. When you think about creating a dense business district, that doesn't really exist here. We kind of have nodes or clusters of these strip mall type developments where you have 5 or 6 small businesses in there. So that inherently kind of makes it challenging to create a place for consumers. And again, I think as development occurs in the city and as the kind of the downtown sub area grows, I think that'll happen here in Mountlake Terrace. It's just going to take some time. In terms of what you all could do to help, I think it's just connecting me to the people that I should be talking to. I don't know what I don't know, and if there's individuals, developers, businesses that you feel need to be engaged, I'm always open to have a conversation and learn more about, what they're doing and how the chamber can support them. So I'd say that'd be the most helpful thing. Yeah.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm always happy to talk about economic development, and but to really do, as a strong supporter of getting this funded in our last budget, and really excited to see it's taking off, and more importantly is hearing the voice of the business community and knowing exactly what you need to be successful here in Mountlake Terrace, because I think we have a council that's very supportive and excited, and we'll be talking about that a little bit further later tonight, as a matter of fact, but the importance of growing our economy and the business retention and expansion here in Mountlake Terrace and everything you've been talking about and the strategic initiatives we've got coming up is going to be so critical in us achieving our dreams and what we want to do here in Mountlake Terrace. And so the only way we're going to be able to afford it is supporting a strong economic development effort. And we really appreciate what you guys are doing. Excited to see how we come together and look forward to working together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, I just want to say that we've been waiting for something like this for a long, long time because we needed to get the different business owners together, but we didn't have staff. I wasn't going to go do it by myself without, so we've come a long ways. Step number 1, the next is step number 2, and then we'll get there.
I agree. It's definitely a long process, but I think we're making a really good effort, and we're moving forward every day. So just happy to be here, happy to have all of your support. And if you ever want to have a conversation, if you want to share some thoughts or ideas, I'm always happy to meet.
All right, thank you. I don't see anyone else with their hands up. Okay, so thank you so much. We're not going to hear from Gary? No. Thank you for coming. All right, so next is the presentation of the 2024 Federal Legislative Agenda by the Johnston Group, which is one person, Jake Johnson.
It is mathematically accurate, Mayor.
No, you are more than one person?
No, you could be a group of one.
Okay.
He does enough work for a group, though.
Right.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, thank you for the opportunity to come tonight and be a part of the council meeting to discuss the 24 federal agenda. It's always a pleasure to come to Mountlake Terrace. I'm really proud of the work that we've done together over the last few years, and really the agenda in 24 is to continue. That is the one-word summary of the entire agenda. It is to continue to build funding partnerships with the federal government that benefit the city of Mountlake Terrace. It's to make sure that we've got the relationships in the delegation that are invested in our success. And it's working on the policy issues that continue to be a threat and a challenge, kind of as we want to move forward and build these partnerships together. And I apologize for making this so quick, but the summary really is we intend to lead our first, second, and third priority next year is the resubmittal of our raise grant application and looking at something in the $20 to $25 million range for the downtown sub-area plan. That is our primary focus for next year. The city's been so successful with its federal earmark applications in 22 and 23 that we don't see that as a viable option for us in 25 or 24 rather, mostly because we need to take a step back having won so much. And we really want to focus on the raise grant next year as the single catalyst activity that will transform the downtown area. I'm happy to take questions about where we're at in 23. I'm happy to make up answers about what Congress is up to right now. Or we could discuss the 24 agenda, kind of that's before you as you'd like. I'm sorry to be so crisp in my summary here, but we're going to keep on keeping on.
Okay, well, do we have any questions or comments before we go into some of those other items? Councilmember Ryan.
Well, on that note, I hope coming up we're successful in the new year, and then we'll hear back from you, and I'll say it early, but Happy New Year.
As the council knows, we have a pending project in the current appropriations bills that are working their way through Congress right now. The city requested $2.19 million for the Main Street Phase 2 project. We are currently funded in the House budget at $850,000, and our delegation is working hard to bring that number up to its fully funded request by the end of the year. As any of you who read papers know, Congress has been trying to figure out how it's going to do appropriations between now and the new year, and we are in the middle of that process right now. So I look forward to saying Happy New Year to you as well, Councilmember Ryan.
All right, we have a question here from Councilmember Woodard.
Thank you, Mayor. No, not a question, actually, just a comment, which never want you to leave this room without knowing how much we appreciate the work that you're doing. Your organization just has been amazing, to say the least. Just in my short 5 years, just to watch the wins. And as you say, what a humbling statement. Sorry, we got to step back. We keep winning too much. You know, I mean, what a wonderful statement and problem to have. And then I just want to pause and say, not just to the council, but to our residents as well. Not only do we have a wonderful organization, but if you get a chance to get to know this man, which I'm trying to do this little incrementally here, just what a wonderful human being I have learned that you are. And I kind of already presumed that to be the case, but to see some of the things that you're in when you're not lobbying, like just as a full person, just absolutely is humbled to know you as a person and look forward to the work that you're going to keep doing for us. So
thank you, Councilmember. That means a lot.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I absolutely want to echo what Councilmember Woodard says. I want to just make sure you know how much we appreciate the work you do and the value you bring to our city, and looking forward to continuing to work together.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Anyone else?
The city of Mountlake Terrace was the only city council when my daughter was a young girl. She's now a freshman in college. The city of Mountlake Terrace City Council, you guys got me like a book of hikes to take her on. And none of my other municipal clients did that. So you'll always have a special place, at least in my heart, for kind of the relationship that we've built together.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall?
And along those lines, we realize how much you value Mountlake Terrace as a new resident. Welcome.
Thank you.
Not brand new, but new.
Newish.
I guess those years do add up after a while, don't they?
I'm assuming that I have council direction to join the chamber now at that point. Is that my direction? Okay.
Please.
All right, do I see any other hands?
Great. I think looking into 24, just for council to be aware of, again, the raise grant really is, there's a team at the city right now that Jeff and the Public Works team have put together. This really is the focus. We are putting all of our best efforts together. The city, we've had strategy meetings about this. We're working very collaboratively to put our best case forward. And while this will be kind of our coalescing strategy for 24, you know, I don't know at this stage what the congressional calendar or year is going to look like. I think we are not going to finish this year's appropriations work until next year's appropriations work starts. And I think that we're going to be in the middle of this process kind of as we're submitting the raise grant application. So in terms of the city's participation in meetings in DC or bringing the delegation out to the city, I think we're still playing it a little bit by ear as we see what the congressional calendar and what they're able to get done. One final comment though before we go. It's not only do I appreciate the partnership that I have with the city, but I will say that your delegation also is vested in the city's goals. The delegation understands what the potential is for development in Mountlake Terrace, and they are all in. Senator Murray, Senator Cantwell, Congresswoman Del Bene, they understand what you are doing collectively as a council, what the city is doing to plan for growth around transit and in your downtown sub area, and they keep reaching out, trying to partner with us on different strategies. You have built a really successful partnership with that level of government. So congratulations to you. That doesn't happen without council strategy, without council action, and without a really strong city team behind you. Great, I'm going home.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, City.
Okay. Now we are going to review and approve the design contract with MacLeod, Reckord for Veterans Memorial Park Upper Plateau with our Parks and Rec Director, Jeff Betts. Oh, you're by yourself, okay.
Almost there. Okay. Okay, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. I'm Jeff Betts, the Recreation and Parks Director for the city. Are we seeing, is everything turning out okay up there? Or? Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody can see the presentation. Okay, great. So tonight, I'm presenting to you the design agreement with MacLeod Reckord for landscape design services at Veterans Memorial Park in the Upper Plateau area. So this presentation will review the contract and the project, then we'll recommend approval for the contract tonight as well. So this design work is to prepare us for the upcoming 2024 grant cycle with the state's Recreation and Conservation Office. So that was the purpose. We're here for that. And then the agenda tonight, we're going to go over the background for the project, some design work that we intend to undertake, and then the timeline for that, as well as the request of council and some potential discussion and questions. So a little bit of background on the project. It's an 8.3 acre park, and it's directly south of the Civic Campus where we're at now, right off 58th Avenue West. And currently the upper developed portion of the park includes trails, a playground, a veterans memorial, a gazebo, picnic areas, and a grassy play area. Now, if you remember, back in 2021, the conceptual master plan for the park was approved by council, and that work was also performed by MacLeod Reckord. The city was able to obtain funding and move that phase 1 forward, which includes lighted trails that traverse the lower area of the park with access points at 60th, the Civic Campus, 58th Avenue West, and the park and ride lot. So this slide shows that conceptual master plan that was approved. And the focus of tonight's contract is on that upper plateau area that's on the bottom right-hand corner of the image. So this project will add a restroom where there currently is none. It'll replace the gazebo, and will replace the play equipment and repave and light the upper loop trail. It'll also revitalize the Veterans Memorial, and also will undertake some frontage improvements as well as some landscaping. So just to highlight a little bit of the individual pieces to this, the play structure was in the conceptual plan to reflect the park, so more of a natural themed play area. And we planned for this new area to blend in and match it and kind of look like that wooded area itself, so it wouldn't stick out as much and also be more accessible potentially. The current Veterans Memorial at the park is a little bit small and a little bit underwhelming, I think, for what we could do. It could be something much nicer there. And it's also in need of a refresh. It's been a good 30 years since it's been there and nothing's been done with it. So we do plan to work with the public and also the VFW, who actually originally helped open it. And we'll do something to enhance that feature. The gazebo also is a frequently mentioned improvement in our public input for the park, and it was recognized that this is a really important element next to a play area. So the restroom is actually the #1 requested item in all of our park system, and so there currently is none there. And so this would be a really important infrastructure element to the park system, and especially that park. The new asphalt pathway would be lit, a little larger than the current one, and it's actually a pretty heavily used amenity, and having a little larger would, I think, assist with that as well. So the last piece is actually one of the larger pieces. It's more of an infrastructure element, but the frontage improvements that are necessary, and it has to follow town center design standards, so to be a wider sidewalk, and it's going to go right into that retaining wall, which in some ways is a really good thing, because that retaining wall really kind of blocks the accessibility to the park, and it almost creates a fence, or, I mean, it is a wall, so keeps people from going up there really easily. So I think it would be a more welcoming element to the park if once we're able to do that, those frontage improvements that we're required to do anyway. So additional landscaping as well. So the project is funded with $200,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act that was approved by council earlier this year. And that should get us to 60% design, which is the level we need to reach to apply for state funding. So this is a new policy. Before, there's time to where we could just come up with the conceptual and try to get funding at the state level. But for the Land Water Conservation Fund, which is what we intend to apply to, it is a new policy element. So next year in 2024, we intend to take this 60% design and apply for multiple grants for construction. So MacLeod Reckord does have a long history of producing great projects in the Puget Sound area. They have experience in master planning, urban design, trail design, sustainable strategies, and public outreach. We've previously worked with them on the conceptual plan for this park, as mentioned, but also on the plaza right out here. The Jerry Smith Town Center Plaza was one of the elements they designed. They were the one consultant that did respond to this RFP, and they were deemed qualified and selected to move forward pending council approval. So the schedule for this project, which is 60% design of the upper plateau area, we would commence immediately following approval and start the design process, which will include, geotechnical investigations, making sure we're getting our NEPA or SEPA finished. We'll be doing some forestry assessments, initial design phase, and also come out of the probable cost of construction. So all that will happen and be completed by spring 2024, which is when our technical application for RCO, or the Recreation Conservation Office, is due. So that ranked list of projects will come out in September next year, and then grant agreements would be issued in July 2025. So on to the request of council is that staff recommends the city council authorize city manager to sign this professional services agreement with MacLeod Reckord for design of that Veterans Memorial Park Upper Plateau area. Do you have any questions?
Do we have any questions, comments? Councilmember Murray?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Jeff. Appreciate the presentation. Appreciate that you and the rest of the team continues to look for ways to identify opportunities for grant funding and sets us up to go after that. I'm excited about the potential of the Upper Plateau of Veterans Park. As you know, my kids have grown up. I think we've spent a lot of time at Briar Park. And I think that oftentimes is the choice of birthday parties because they have the restrooms and the gazebo and the play structure all there in close proximity. And so I love the idea of having those resources in our community and refreshed, added and refreshed. And then I will just say I think the idea of the park being more welcoming as part of the redevelopment is really exciting. And I love that you are working with the VFW to think about the veterans aspect of Veterans Memorial Park. I stopped by there on Veterans Day, and it was late, or maybe it wasn't late, but it was dark because, you know, that's where we are. But it was like very somber. For those who haven't been there at night, you know, we have the American flag and it is uplit and there's, you know, trees behind it. And it is, you know, I think a lovely tribute to our veterans here locally. And to your point, I think that we could refresh it and potentially do more. Absolutely. And I think the VFW is a great partner to help us think about what that looks like. So anyway, just very excited and appreciate all of the work.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? Do you want to go?
If we're ready to.
Okay. I think we're ready.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to authorize the city manager to execute the professional services agreement with MacLeod Reckord for Veterans Memorial Park Upper Plateau design work in the amount of $200,000.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded. Do we just go on to voting? There's no more discussion? Is there any discussion?
Well, actually, it might be best to put it here. Really, it's not about the park. Very excited about what you presented, everything about that. I just want to remind us the corner that what would that be, 58th and maybe 234? They came and spoke to us about how they don't feel that the corner right here, the corner, I'm blanking on what this cross street is. I realize that's not part of this project, but just trying to say, as we make this more beautiful, let's not forget that that's a corner that's been identified as dangerous. Keep it simple. So appreciate us kind of keeping that in context. Like, we're going to make something beautiful, but if I can't get across the street to it safely, what's the point of that? So I just want to make sure that we mix that into this dialogue. No need for discussion unless somebody wants to say something to what I just said.
There is some improvements planned as part of those frontage improvements that will assist with that. As part of the Transit Connection Corridor project, that's at 90% designed right now. There's a plan to improve those crossings. So there's no rapid flashing beacon that's part of the project, but the crossings will be improved, and actually we'll have to go halfway out in the road and repave it and things like that. So it'll be much nicer.
Excellent. I just, again, wanted to mix that in here, that we're not making something beautiful, you just get to look around. No, we're thinking about you, so just wanted it in this conversation.
All right, anyone else? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Oh, that was in favor, right?
That was in favor. Sorry for
Thank
the
you.
lag.
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the review and approval of ordinance for salary and benefit adjustments for non-represented staff with our Deputy City Manager, Carolyn Hope.
Thank you. Just give me one moment so I can pull a few things up. All right, thank you for your patience. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. Thank you for having me. We're here tonight to talk again about the non-represented staff salary survey and benefits, and to discuss a possible ordinance and resolution for adoption. The goal for the presentation tonight is to answer any outstanding questions that you might have, to review the options that we've been discussing over the last few meetings, and to talk about the financial impacts and the proposed ordinance and resolution. This is our 5th time meeting with you this year about this salary and benefits survey. And we just talked about the agenda. So I will start off just summarizing some of the costs. At our last couple of meetings, there were a couple of requests, and one was to separate out the actual cost for salaries from the cost of benefits, so you could see the difference. And I just want to highlight that the only benefit change per se that we were talking about was increasing the cost of dependent care from 80% to 90% match for the city, which was an approximate cost of $330,000. I'm sorry, $30,300 a year. But the cost of benefits do go up because the base salary does impact things like our retirement plan rates, limited term disability, Medicare, paid family and medical leave, and life insurance. So you will see that there is a difference in the benefit costs over time. So this shows you our current costs in 2023 with no raises or anything. And then 2024, where the proposal could potentially take effect, and then 2025, where it's in place for just another year. So you can see the differences. And then another slide here just rolls those costs up. So now you can see the total cost per year of salary and benefits, but it breaks it down by the fund type. So this shows all our general fund plus all our special revenue funds and how the costs are spread out. And just as a reminder, the costs of the benefit changes are listed here. As we've talked about in the past, there's no direct cost for the vacation and management leave programs, but there is potential costs over time if people accrue more vacation as a result of those benefits coming into play. And then their medical benefit from increasing the dependent match from 80 to 90%, as I just mentioned, is just over $30,000 per year. So in summary, in the first year, we would see an increase in the budget of about $2.2 million for this proposal. And in future years, there would be increases of up to about $675,000 per year, depending on the amount of people's performance review increases and so forth. The other thing I just wanted to address, that as there were several questions about vacation accrual and how that might impact budgetary issues in the future, I did do a review of the number of employees who are close to that 320-hour maximum. So I looked at folks between 270 and 320 hours. And of our 118 benefited employees, only 9 exempt employees were in that range. So the cash out, depending on what tier those folks are in for management leave, and their pay ranges could range, from about $20,000 to $33,000 if they cashed out 320 hours. But of course, we only see, in a typical year, not everyone is leaving at the same time, so we wouldn't expect to see a lot of funds leaving the vacation fund in a given year. So I just wanted, since we've been talking about a lot of details over the last several meetings and since August, I just wanted to summarize the proposals and the options that we've presented. We've presented a lot of information to you over this time period, and just wanted to make sure you had a chance to review it together. So just a summary of a couple of things. We talked about some title changes early on. So there were 4 positions whose titles changed to be more consistent with their job description and more consistent with the market job descriptions in there. And this will help us when we're doing just annual reviews of salaries so that we're not confusing unlike jobs to each other. Also, there was one position that changed from non-exempt to exempt. That's the fleet supervisor. In the existing salary survey, there are 5 positions listed that are not carried forward into the new salary schedule. And that is because they are unfilled and unbudgeted, and we don't project the need to hire this type of position in the near future anyway. And now we'll just talk more about the options that we've shared. So for salaries, we've talked about the goal of meeting the market. We've also talked about several points below market. We've talked about 5% below market, and maybe looking at other ways of not getting to market or phasing the approach. And there's also the option of not providing a salary adjustment. Just wondered if council wanted to talk any further about the options presented.
Does council have any questions about that? We're on the options. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to have comments towards the end, but I'm wondering do we want to make sure for each of these areas that you're asking, do we have consensus on which option? So I think and maybe as we go through, we need to ensure that we're on the same page.
Yes, there's a lot of detail in the ordinance and resolution. So I just thought if we could step through the different decision points through these next few slides, it might give me clarity. And if you want to edit the ordinance or resolution, we can do that on the fly, or I can do it after the meeting and we can bring it back another time. But I just thought that might help the decision-making process.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, thanks. So I guess maybe to help with that, as maybe do this as we go, and do we as a council have consensus that we want to adjust salaries to meet market average? Are we all on board with that? Then, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is the vacation accrual. So there's a proposal to add a level of vacation accrual for people who've worked more than 21 years. And that would put us in alignment with our 2 bargaining units to make non-represented folks have 17 hours of accrual instead of 16 at year 21. Is there consensus on that? Okay. Thank you. And then management leave, we had a lot of discussion about that. The proposal that we've recommended is option A, but there are certainly other options. As I mentioned, of the 10 comparable cities, 9 shared their benefits, and those 9 cities all have some form of management leave, and they are different, and we shared all that data with you. So again, we're proposing option A, but there are other options, including no management leave. Does council support the proposal, or would they prefer one of the other options?
So option A.
Go ahead, Councilmember Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I would just, my only question, Carolyn, and apologize, I feel like we've talked through this a little, but I want to make sure I ask the question here as well. So looking at the options and recognizing that it is always easier to add benefits than take them away. We haven't had management leave here before, so this is a new endeavor for us. This would be new to the city and to many of the staff here who haven't experienced it in other communities. I guess I'm curious like very supportive of moving it forward, particularly for the first two groups identified. I don't know enough about the expectations, I think, for other staff to understand how much or how, I guess, holistically that group kind of has expectations above and beyond normal work hours. So I guess maybe that is my question. Maybe that would answer. Like, I guess, could you speak, what is other exempt staff, like when you think about that group holistically? I guess I'd be curious to know, what the conversation was around, 24 hours in particular for that group.
Sure. I mean, there's a variety of people who fall in the other exempt staff, but a good example would be our planners who are coming before council, planning commission, going to public meetings. They're not at that management level, that mid-tier. And there's certainly other folks who have different types of responsibilities who may have to work overtime occasionally. So
that's helpful. All right. I'm good with A. I just wanted to make sure I asked the question. Thank you.
Okay.
So we're looking at option A. Thumbs up for option A.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Deputy
Yes,
City Manager,
yes.
I think you missed dependent medical care match.
And Rory's got his hand up.
Oh, Rory.
Oh, did I miss that?
I'm sorry. Let's see what Councilmember Payne Donovan has. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to register my consensus support for the A options that we've discussed so far, since I'm not in the room there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
I apologize. I must have missed this one on dependent care match. So is council in favor of increasing non-represented employees' dependent care match from 80% to 90%? All right. Okay.
82. So do you want us, is that what you wanted us to do, a thumbs up on that?
Yes.
Shall we go back to it? Okay.
All right. Sounds like we have consensus. All right, so I just also wanted to, again, just review the financial strategies. Last time we presented options, again, for alternatives to meeting the market, reducing the hours of work per week, reducing services, and looking at councilmanic revenue increases. We discussed some of the councilmanic revenue increases, and we also discussed several different ways that we could look at the property tax rate for this year. It does appear that council is moving forward with the consideration list shown here of just keeping the same 2023 levy rate with a 1% increase for the coming year, which is, not decided yet, but likely to move forward. So we understand that there's an impact to the budget with this proposal. So I have two things ahead. One is the recommendation for this actual proposal, and then I have some next step proposals as well. So here is a summary of all the things that we just came to a consensus of, which is our original recommendation, which is to meet the market for salaries, add management leave, increase the vacation accrual for employees serving over 21 years, and increasing the dependent medical insurance match from 80 to 90%. And understandably, again, both Janella Lewis's finance director and Jeff Knighton and I all understand the levity of the impact of these decisions on our budget. And we do want to work with council and the community on looking at a long-range financial sustainability strategy. And this isn't the only thing that will be impacting us as we move forward. And I've listed a few other things that we should be thinking about, both as just times are changing, as the city's aging, and as the city's growing, that there are a lot of things that impact our city finances. And I'm hoping council would consider doing a project like this with us and engaging a group of stakeholders and a longer conversation about all the critical needs of our city and the options for either increasing revenues, reducing services, or some combination thereof. And so I'm proposing a motion here to adopt both a resolution that would amend our personnel policies to address the benefit changes we've discussed tonight, and an ordinance to adopt the new salary schedule. And I'm here to answer any questions you have before making a decision.
Are there any questions before we vote? Mayor Pro Tem Wall?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If there are no questions, I'll put the motion on the floor and recognizing that we'll have some discussion. So thank you. Move to adopt the draft ordinance establishing the 2024 salary and changes for the non-represented employees, and the draft resolution amending Resolution 557, personnel policies pertaining to non-represented employees to address benefit changes.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Councilmember Woodard?
Again, I get a little lost on the discussion, so it feels like this is the time to say it, because then we'll vote and be done, move on. So, I want to pause and no comments, just an observation, and just say thank you for a very thoughtful process, especially if anybody's tuning in for the first time and wondering, why are you all so quiet? Because we've had such wonderful dialogue throughout this process. And I want to also commend the council for asking very hard questions. I also want to thank the staff for being in the room and listening to those answers and not taking it personal, because none of this has ever been personal unless you are the city itself. It's been very personal to the city, and we want to make sure this city is as healthy and strong as possible. And we recognize that that's the individuals, but there's got to be a give-take. So again, I just wanted to go on record as saying what a wonderful set of dialogues of how government can work and how I think you can reach an outcome that's, I think, mutually beneficial for everyone, even though there's still a lot of work to make sure that it works.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall? Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to say I delayed. That was on me. I wasn't sure, but I think to echo Councilmember Woodard, very grateful for the very thoughtful, thorough process. I appreciate the questions that you in particular asked, Carolyn. I think the feedback that was taken, the clarity that was provided, the adjustments that were made. I mean, it really has been a, significant, body of work, and it has been one where I feel like you have checked in and brought us along in that process every step of the way. So thank you for that. I am definitely of the perspective that this is long overdue. So I am glad to be moving forward and glad to support this. And where I'm sure, Mayor Pro Tem Wall will do a great job of speaking after me. I'm excited about the proposal of the long-range financial stability plan. Obviously, an important part of what we are charged with as council members is to not only ensure that we are providing the services we are obligated to as a community and the things that our community wants, but to maintain good stewardship of their resources and to ensure that we have that we are in a good place from a fiscal health perspective. And so, I am excited to dig into that sooner rather than later. I think we realize that there's some runway here. And I definitely don't want to leave that conversation until that runway is short. So I'm excited to hear about what timeline could potentially look like for that work. But I think that is the right approach. I think there may be hard conversations as part of that, to your point, but I think you outlined the areas well that we should have we should have a thorough and interactive conversation with our community around. So anyway, appreciate all of the work, and I will be quiet now. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Payne Donovan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'd just like to echo what's been shared already, but really appreciate everything that's gone into the process, as well as the fact that we're setting we're honoring the work of staff and the work that will be done by staff to meet our goals as a community, and we really can't get to where we want to go without the folks who do the work of this city. So I'll stop there. But well, I actually also want to acknowledge the the very serious nature of the fiscal impacts and the sort of the task before us in terms of identifying the fiscal path forward here. It's not an easy topic, and I think it also honestly is something that is a bit overdue. So really pleased that we're moving forward in this way. Thank you.
Thank you. So next will be Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, this is long overdue, and we appreciate our staff's patience in this process, and particularly appreciate the work that you guys have put in to make this, bring this forward to us for thorough, contemplation of the issues and the challenges that we face, and ensuring that it's done well and based on market and based on what other comparable cities are seeing and recognizing the role that plays in our ability to recruit and retain talent. And that said, I think I think we all want to ensure this message is very clearly heard by our staff. We value you. We're doing this on a leap of faith because it's not financially sustainable. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But most importantly, we're doing this because we value our staff and the role that they play in making this a great community. And we know the importance of adopting this resolution to ensure that we are providing competitive salaries and we have the ability to recruit and retain our talent. And again, thank you to all of our staff members for what you do in providing services to our community. So I want to make sure that that message is heard loud and clear before I launch into the challenges ahead of us. And part of why we've been so, I don't know if critical is the right word. It's not critical of the issue. It's the concern for the financial challenges we're going to face in the years to come. And that's why we asked the tough questions. We looked at a lot of different options. I think that we're putting, and we can afford it in our budget for next year. But we can't afford it in 7 or 8 years. And that's in part why what we're adopting does not include, and we've talked about the step increases. We've talked about COLAs. This is not a long-term solution. This gets us up to market rates now. But we need a longer-term discussion for the future and how we are going to handle this. And that's why establishing the financial sustainability task force is going to be so important. We are going to have to look at adjusting the services we provide. We're going to have to look at revenue options. But on that note, I want to remind everybody that increasing revenue options, there's 2 approaches. One is increasing taxes, which none of us really are excited about, and our residents certainly are going to be concerned about. But the other is economic development. And growing, we have lots of great dreams, a lot of great things that we want to see happen here in Mountlake Terrace. And it's going to cost money. I want a bigger pie. And I want to have that through strong economic development initiatives. And so along those lines, a message for our community, for our staff, for the business community, we need a strong partnership, and we need our staff support to recognize the importance that economic development plays moving forward, because if we want to have if we want market rate and competitive salaries into the future over the next 8 years, we're going to need to have more revenues. And the way we're going to have more revenues is by economic development, and we need staffs recognizing that and the role that they play, and because staff is critically important to delivering those services, and economic development is one of those services we need to focus on, and we need staff support to really make sure that we grow our economy here in Mountlake Terrace to ensure the sustainability on a longer term. So with that, I'm very pleased to be able to support this here and now, but anxious about the financial impact and looking forward to having further discussions about how we're going to be able to pay for this in the future.
All right. Do we have anyone else? Can we call for the question? All right, so everyone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
I want to thank you, Council, very
What did
much
we
on
have?
behalf of our team.
Thank you, Council. I just wanted to make sure Councilmember Payne Donovan was able to voice his vote. I saw the mute go off, but.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. I'll vote aye on this as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You're unmuted for a moment there, so. All right. Okay, are we going to move on? So, do we want to meet on Thanksgiving? Or are we going to cancel that meeting?
No, thank you.
So we're going to review the potential cancellation of the November 23rd meeting. Who's going to be taking that one?
I just, we have that on the agenda just as a need to formally cancel that meeting because it is on Thanksgiving evening. And if council would vote to council, to make a motion and vote to cancel that meeting, we can move forward and then meet again on the 29th.
Okay, so Mayor Pro Tem, you want to make that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As much as we value this staff and council and feel like we're all family, I think this will be an opportunity for us to spend a little time finally with our own families. And on that note, I will move to cancel the meeting on the 23rd Thanksgiving.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Oh, thank you very much, Rory. Okay, we're not meeting on Thanksgiving, so you all don't come here. Yes. Okay, city managers report.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. First thing, there was a discrepancy between the paper version of the agenda you have before you and the online version. So when Mayor Pro Tem Wall made the motion to approve the consent agenda, he made the motion to approve items A, B, C, and E. There is also on the published version online, item F, which is the vehicle purchase, and I just wanted to make sure that was clear to council. And if you would make a quick motion and then redo that to include F, we would appreciate it.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve item F on the consent agenda as well. Thanks.
Do we need to
Second.
vote on that?
Yeah.
Oh, did you second it? Okay, good. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm waiting for Councilmember Payne Donovan.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. All opposed? It passes. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And sorry for the discrepancy. A couple things to mention tonight is I wanted to mention the comprehensive plan open house that we held on Monday evening. Terrific event, a lot more turnout than we expected, probably because we had one of our local businesses, Sorelli's Pizza, here. I know that helped me attend for the first 40 minutes or so. That was great. We got a lot of good information. Quite a few people came that were new to the community, which is awesome to see. And I had a lot of good conversations about how our community is going to develop over the next 20 years and what is really important to people. And that was great. Also wanted to mention that the preparation for the tree lighting is currently underway. That's going to be held December 1st. That's a Friday at 6 p.m. out here on the plaza. We will be releasing the information on the road closures soon, so people are aware of how that's going to work while we're doing that ceremony Friday evening in a couple weeks. And we're wanted to also mention on Saturday, we have talked about the food drive for the Student Association. And on Saturday, that's going to be taking place at the Pavilion. So if you have any food you'd like to drop off to support the Student Association, that would be great. Also, the Pavilion is turning 55 on November 24th. So that facility has long served this community, and looking forward to celebrate that. We have several 55 related themes. There's 55 cents off various programs and all kinds of different stuff. I'm not sure if Jeff's going to lower the price of the rubber ducks, but see if we can talk him into it. And then just to remind people that we are going to be closed next week, Thursday and Friday, for the Thanksgiving holiday. The Pavilion will be closed on Thursday, but then we'll be have an alternate schedule the rest of the holiday weekend. So I believe they'll be open on Friday and Saturday. But if I'm wrong, Jeff, okay. So that's correct, and that's all I have. I'd be happy to. Oh, sorry. One last thing. Our police department just received the WASPIC, the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs, reaccreditation. A great accomplishment for us. And for Chief Kaw and the members of his team. And that's just recognizes that we're following best industry practices and doing things the way it ought to be done. So happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Do we have any questions of the city manager? I guess not. Okay, so next is the council liaison reports, and they're going to be long because we didn't do it the last time, so this will be like 4 weeks worth. So let's get started over there. No, you don't want to begin. You don't want to go first?
No, that's fine, Mayor. I'm happy to go. I will try to keep it actually fairly short and not dig in too much given the age of some of these things. We've had 2 DEI commission meetings since we last did reports. So the first of which was way back on October 16th. I will reflect after this month's meeting briefly on some of the work that the commission is doing. On October 19th, I went to the Civic Health Summit, which was put on by the Lieutenant Governor and brought folks from all over the state together in Renton for a day of, both learning about civic engagement, but really kind of taking that to the next space and thinking about actionable strategies to drive more civic engagement in our communities. So had some really good conversations, particularly one of the tables was around municipal, local civic engagement. And so there was a lot of city council members there. Deanna from AWC was there and kind of leading the conversation among that group. Also had a chance to join. We got to also pick a secondary group, and so I went and had some good conversation or learned a lot, actually, really. I was mostly listening in the second group around K through 12 education and civic engagement there. So they are working on some takeaways from all of those great conversations that I will bring back and share with this group, and probably have lots of ideas about all of the exciting things that I want to do to engage our community. But I will say, I think there is a theme of engagement going on in our community, and I'm just really appreciative, I think, of all of the work from the many different corners that is happening. On the 19th, I also had my monthly city manager meeting, and then later that evening, it was a really long day where I was all over the place. Went from Renton to Mountlake Terrace and then up to Everett for the Snohomish County Cities meeting. I'm trying to think if there was any main takeaway for me there. We talked about homelessness in particular. I think there is shared recognition that we have work to do. They're doing some things at a county level to help move that process forward, and look forward to continuing to hear about their progress as they dig into that more. On the 20th, I went to the Mountlake Terrace High School homecoming football game, and I will just say congratulations to our football team for one of their best seasons in a really, really long time. They did amazing, and congratulations to them and all of the athletes on great seasons. The 23rd, we joined the Shoreline City Council for dinner before their meeting. I really appreciated that opportunity. I thought that was just a wonderful, I have not done something like that in the past with any of our neighboring cities. And I think particularly Shoreline, given my comment earlier, we don't often have a lot of connectivity with them because they're in a different county. And so, we work a lot with folks who are in Snohomish County. And so I appreciated, given we both are navigating, the changes that light rail will bring to our communities here in the very near future. It was wonderful to hear some of the things that they are doing and some of the things they are working on and some of the things that they are struggling with, and to share the same. And so I would love to continue that and would love to meet with some of our other neighbors as well. I think my major takeaway from that was they are requiring affordability around their light rail stations, and I thought that was an interesting way to ensure that folks who often are most in need of access to transit have the ability to access that. So I think that was an interesting takeaway as we think about our comprehensive planning process here moving forward. The next day on the 24th, there was a flu and COVID booster shot clinic at the high school. I got both at once. Jennifer and I talked about that. I don't know that I would do it again, but I was very happy to get both done, to have the opportunity to get my kids done at the same time, and just really appreciate. I just saw the numbers for the amount of both kids and adults who had COVID boosters and flu shots, and those numbers are really, really low. And they are, I think our medical professionals are highly encouraging that we make time to do that. So I would just encourage folks. I was going to say everybody was a little tired the next couple of days, but well worth it to head into our flu season feeling like we have an extra layer of protection. Trunk or treat on the 31st was amazing. Big thank you to our Chamber of Commerce and all of our community members who came together for a great event there, to our police department who were there doing, again, great community engagement and meeting folks. And particularly thank you to Maria Ellis over at Espresso Break. I will say, so I got there, we got in line because there was a lot of kids there. And so we get in line and I'm like, okay, kids, I'm going to go get myself some coffee. You stay here. And so I went over to Espresso Break, and Maria is in there with some of her staff, and we chat briefly. And then we finally get up to the front of the line, and she's greeting people at the front of the line of, the kids coming into the trunk or treat area. And I'm just like, how did you get from there to there? You're everywhere. And then we are winding our way through the trunk or treat experience, and she is at one of the trunks handing out candy. So anyway, she is a big driver of that project in particular, and just appreciate all of the care and the time that goes into that, and her magic ability to be everywhere. So that was a great community event, and appreciate that continuing year after year. Let's see. On the 2nd, I was the alternate at the PSRC Growth Management Policy Board meeting, so I'll let Mayor Pro Tem Wall share all of the good things that he wants to share there. I think my main takeaway was that one of the things they talked about was how little of, I don't know that this was their main takeaway, but it was the main takeaway I took from it. They talked about the percentage of transit-oriented development that is rent versus own, and how little opportunity there is for people to own. How little of the new housing that we are building is available for people to own in the watershed of transit areas. And so I think, again, thinking about things that might be beneficial to our community as we think about our comprehensive planning process, thinking about ownership opportunities for people to invest in home ownership here, but also be close to transit, was something that I think was worthy of future conversation. We had our first Thursday council meeting, our regular council meeting in November, which was wonderful. It's nice to just have to think Thursdays. Every Thursday is a council meeting, mostly. Here now. We also had one on the 9th. I came to the open house for our comprehensive planning process on Monday, which was wonderful and amazing. And there were so many people here and so many good conversations had. And I'm excited that I think the feedback has been heard around, the fact that we care deeply about hearing from our community as part of this process. I think there continues to be new ideas and new work being done to like figure out how to reach people that we haven't reached yet. And I think it is a really thoughtful and great process. And so I appreciate all of the work from city staff and the consultants that we are working with, and the advisory committee and everyone else that is helping to move that process forward. Next day, we had our DEI commission meeting here, so our second one of this report, and the final thing in my report. And so I think high-level things that are important for us to know. I think one, the DEI commission is, I think we had a lot of new commissioners this year, and it's always hard to know how that is going to go. But I think the new commissioners that we selected are excited about the work. They are showing up. They are sharing all of the different things they're doing in between commission meetings that are, connected to the work, but also like each like very much their own and different. And so they're really excited, and Carolyn has just done a wonderful job in helping to support them from a staff perspective. And that is a significant body of work that has been associated with that. So thank you for that. We are moving forward with the strategic planning process. So they are working to get dates on the calendar to provide input as part of that process. I think that's the big stuff. They are plugged into the comprehensive planning process. One of the things that they talked about at this meeting, they have these great posters that they are going to go put up at various businesses and, places of worship and other public spaces in the community to continue to get the word out there about opportunities to plug in. And that has been extended, I think, to mid-December. So there's still an opportunity. If you haven't weighed in on this phase, there is still opportunity to do so. And Carolyn shared some of the great, if you weren't able to attend the open house on Monday, some of the great resources we now have online that mirrors what folks were able to experience as part of the open house. And so anyway, I think they are doing amazing work and have really good energy. And so I'm excited when they get to come present to us here early next year. So I think that is it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor. October 17th, I attended the Arts Advisory Commission, which they're currently analyzing and reviewing the successful art show we had for 1 week in September. Then on the 19th, I also attended the Snohomish County Cities and Towns Networking Dinner. Then on the 23rd of October, I also attended the Shoreline City Council networking dinner. Then we go into November, and what do we got here? 13th, I think it's there. 13th, attended the open house for our new Indian food restaurant and banquet hall, Shahi Tandoori, and then, which was delicious, and thank you very much for the food. And then at night here, I attended our comprehensive plan, SEPA and Vision 2044 public presentation. And then Tuesday the 14th, I attended the Left One Retirement Board Commission thing. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Payne Donovan, did you want to give your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and hopefully the connection holds. First want to appreciate the fact that I can give you or attend this meeting remotely, and I'll try to keep my update focused here. I think I've attended the council meetings, with the exception of last week's meeting, but going backward through the highlights. On November 3rd, I attended the Seashore Transportation Forum meeting I believe with you as well, and the highlights there were the sort of formalization or fine tuning of that group's legislative agenda for the state session coming up. The highlights there include a lot of focus on State Route 104, that's sort of Ballinger Way, Edmonds Way, Ballinger Way improvements, as well as pedestrian and multimodal transportation funding priorities. Also attended the Trunk or Treat event on Halloween. Then back on the 19th of October, I attended the Snohomish County Cities dinner as well. That was a really interesting and robust conversation. And I will be super brief and just stop there. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Woodard?
Thank you, Mayor. I am not going to be super brief, but I won't be much longer. That said, sorry, City Clerk, I got like 16 entries. So I'll try to go with some grace here. On the 21st, I had the honor of going out and opening up a cold weather shelter shift, or being there to greet people in the morning as they woke up, I should say, which is just a reminder that the cold weather shelters are open. And so please spread that word. It's really a true care about your fellow human being operation. Most of these things are volunteer based. If there's a nonprofit involved, it's in very low budget. The counties are doing the best they can. But cold weather shelters fail all the time. So just keep that in mind as well, that we really all have to pitch in, and be that volunteer hours, money, or figuring out how to just get people to the shelters. Truly a humbling process. That said, on the 23rd, I was at the Shoreline City Council meeting. I'll echo everything everyone said. It was a wonderful use of time. I hope we do it again soon and spread that to other councils. On the 24th, I don't know why I took my glasses off because I can't see this. On the 24th, I went to the Behind the News Stories forum that the Herald put on at the ECA. Just a fabulous event. Just with all that's going on, just a reminder of the need for having reliable news outlets. On the 25th and the 1st, we had a comprehensive plan advisory group. And really, I'll just try not to go too deep into that and just say that it's a norming and storming process still going on. That said, I really want to applaud whoever's decision it was to start off that first meeting. And I will just keep it simple and let you all know, I live here in the city center. And so part of this comprehensive plan that we're doing is looking at history so that we can make better decisions moving forward. And in that historical discovery, I learned that the house that I live in, I could not have bought because it had a racial covenant on it. There weren't very many houses in Mountlake Terrace that did that, so most people focus on Seattle and the redlining and all that, but that is part of our history here as well, as including the GI Bill not going to non-white folks who served, right? So black folks didn't have the same access. That's an important part of this history, not just for Mountlake Terraces in general, but I applauded the city then and I applaud it now, again, for starting there, because it's really hard to have honest conversations if we don't look where we've been, so that we make sure that we're guideposting in the right direction. That said, we have a very eclectic group, and there's an imbalance, but we're working through that, meaning that clearly some people on this council, on this advisory group who know a lot about planning, and then there are some other folks who are brand new. We also have a student who is in there holding their own. More power to you. But, looking forward to us getting to more of that work, and it's just an honor to be representing us. I do encourage you all, because it is recorded, I believe, to encourage you to have a look as well. And of course, you can join. We have the Zoom meetings as well. It's been very interesting. That will be the longest talk I give. On the 26th, I participated in the Clothes for Kids breakfast with Devin Harris as the speaker. That's from the original Jamaican bobsled team. On the 26th that night, I went to Unidos put together, actually it was a number of folks, but Unidos particularly sponsored it and looked at white Christian nationalism. And their keynote speaker was David Newhart. Met the mayor there, so she might bring it up, and so I'll leave it there for now, but that also was an important conversation. The second was at the regular meeting. Just want to acknowledge, we went to 11 o'clock, and that was our first meeting, and I'm glad that we just broke that right out of the box. It's this, hey, let's do it. But I'm also glad that we won't get there tonight. That said, on the third, hey, maybe, yeah, right. On the third, went to the Rise Up Gala. Rise Up works with preschool students and really, and a little bit older than that as well. But it's just this idea that the early childhood education, they had a wonderful gala, and I'll bring that back in new business with just preschool and period. And then on the 8th, that was a fun day. Had the absolute honor of being with our city staff and an emotional intelligence training that was put on by our police department. And just know that it was a great experience. If you get a chance, if you did so yourself, I would encourage you to do so, but just to be with the staff and see how they interact with each other. And it was just a good learning opportunity. The takeaway, though, I would give just for us as a council to be thinking about, I thought it was interesting because Matt, who was our trainer, police department, at the end made a very clear statement about, hey, we should be collaborating more. We share a parking lot. And it was just a good reminder of how easy it is. I think in our own job, we talk about siloing. Well, it also happens here at the city, right? And so in that regard, for us to be thinking about ways to engage, but also to not get into our own silo and stay there. That was really my first time in the police department intentionally. No, I've been there before. Nonetheless, to see that training space was amazing. We paid for that. So if you haven't had a chance, for no other reason, go see your new training space. It is absolutely astounding. Then I had the honor of then going one-on-one with our city manager later on. One-on-one. We had a one-on-one meeting, I should say, and nobody was laughing. They're tired or something. Or they're just tired of my jokes, a little bit of both. I also went to the Edmonds Chamber event later that evening, which is just to say I missed our Mountlake Terrace one. I just burned out, but I do visit the other chambers, and again, just excited by the opportunities they have, and that says a lot of I miss Hadiani. On the 9th, I was at our study session. On the 10th, I had the opportunity to join Veterans Day service. I just want to acknowledge that we did celebrate and appreciated that. On the 11th, actual Veterans Day, we had an opportunity to go to a book talk by a local author, Junebug, and purchase a couple books for our local school district as well, but it was just a great conversation. Also, since Brian brought up the idea that we might act like we're family, but we want to meet our own family, let me use this as an opportunity to say, it's very possible that I have family listening right now. I got a call about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Hey, we just landed, but we're only here for a couple hours, and I couldn't arrange my schedule. So if you're listening, thanks for being there. That's also my way to say, hey, I celebrated my 28th anniversary on the 11th, so thank you to my love, who has to put up with me being gone all the time, but not this time to 11. And then last but not least, I had the opportunity of also being at Shahi Tandoor and Grill grand opening along with the mayor and Councilmember Rick as well. And would just say, wow, that was really good food. They absolutely made us stay to eat. And I will just say that is more likely to get me to leave faster. And I didn't leave, and man, was I rewarded. That was some absolutely wonderful food, which I will prove again tomorrow when I go for dinner. So that will be it, other than on Saturday, if you're interested, Ivy League is meeting right here at that beautiful Veterans Park we were just talking about. Come in, let's help remove some invasive plant species, 9 to 12. Looking forward to it. Into my report.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I will attempt to make sure we get out of here before 11. Thanks. All right, so going back to the 19th, I was at the Snohomish County Cities Dinner. On the 23rd, attended the Shoreline City Council Networking Dinner. On the 25th, attended the Snohomish County Tomorrow Steering Committee, where we discussed the airport master plan. We currently are serving 1 million customers, and in 20 years, we're expected to increase that to 4 million flying customers out of Payne Field. Obviously, there are going to be improvements needed for the terminal, parking, and support facilities over the next 20 years, but if you've not flown out of Payne Field, I highly recommend it. Also discussed the PSRC, Puget Sound Regional Council roadway safety planning, which I'm going to touch on next, which is the 26th of October, had the Puget Sound Regional Council Executive Board meeting where we approved funding for Mountlake Terrace Veterans Park Trail at $1.1 million. Also discuss the 2024 transportation project selection process, which is important. I've passed along a lot of information to the city manager, but changes are ahead, and where projects, a heads up, guys out there, because grant funding is going to be based on safety, equity, and climate. So it's important for us to make those adjustments to be able to rank higher in competitive grants selection process coming up. Also discussed a number of, the federal legislative update, and again, focused on a lot of the funding opportunities that are available for local jurisdictions through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, and just a number of different programs available, and a number that could apply to us. Speaking of grant funding, on the 11th of November, Puget Sound Regional Council Growth Board meeting, we talked about climate grant funding, and there's a lot of opportunities for funding climate, safety, and equity, as a matter of fact. I don't know if we followed up on some of those things that I forwarded on, but there's, again, just a lot of opportunities to be able to raise our game here at the local level, be able to better take advantage of funding opportunities in the future. Growth Board meeting, we also talked about, we had the housing monitoring report. We talked about the regional housing strategies of supply, stability, and subsidies. Talked about how rent has increased 50% and housing costs have doubled since 2015. Required income is now $164,000, up 56% since 2021. Ownership versus rental. Renting, we complained about renting being high, the high cost of rentals right now at $2,000. Home ownership, to get into your starter home, buying your first home, is almost $4,000 now. I think all of us that own a home, when we bought it 20 years ago and we could actually afford it, we could barely afford it if we could today, which is scary prospects for our discussions with our comp plan update process, and how we're going to create affordable housing opportunities here in Mountlake Terrace. Anyway, sorry, moving on. 800,000 units are needed to accommodate growth by 2050. We had discussed the industrial lands analysis related to inventory, supply, demand, and need challenges, such as the workforce. We have 650,000 workforce, nearly 24% are expected to retire. And we're going to be, just like here in Mountlake Terrace, facing the challenge, everybody's facing the challenges of unfilled positions, and workforce development programs are needed. Transportation, mobility, access, land use impacts, and incompatible uses are all other challenges that face our industrial lands. We talked about regional centers, and going to be monitoring and redesignating our regional centers next year, tracking performance, evaluating outcomes, reviewed criteria for designation of both new and potentially new and existing regional centers. I'm sure you're all keeping up with everything I'm saying, right? I'm beating the clock. Regional, let's say, okay, so then Snohomish County City's Executive Board meeting on the 3rd of November, following up on our Snohomish County City's dinner, and the board kind of follows up to talk about how it went and what we learned and how we can improve, and also talking about future meeting dates. So take note, January 18th is the next meeting for the Snohomish County Cities. Obviously, we'll be talking about elections. Also, potentially, if we have time, working in some discussion with the Snohomish County opioid settlement and mental health issues. Other topics for future discussion is legislative updates, housing, public safety. And when I talk about housing, I know we just talked about housing at the last dinner. This is going to be more focused on Chris Collier's reports and housing affordability and all the challenges we continue hearing about related to addressing the housing crisis. And then also a good discussion item is city budgets. We were talking about our upcoming budget challenges. Well, every city is facing a lot of same challenges and cuts in services and revenue issues, et cetera. So we thought a good topic for discussion would be city budgets and revenues and how we're handling that. we have great conversations with the board and, talk about the organization and the budgets and things like that. But one note I do want to pass along is Snohomish County tomorrow and Snohomish County cities are potentially going to be merging and creating the Snohomish County Council of Governments. So just heads up on that. More to come on that in future reports. But I think that will conclude it now. Other than the fact that the mayor and I had a great meeting with the city manager earlier today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So I'll give my report. On October the 19th, I also attended the Snohomish County Cities Dinner. On the 20th, I was on the panel for the snow track on transportation. And on the 23rd, I attended the Snohomish County All Mayors meeting. And that's the mayors of all of Snohomish County. That evening, I went to the Shoreline City Council dinner. And then on the 25th, I attended the Snohomish County Health District, and it was actually a Snohomish County Health District meeting that we had to vote on some things that the Snohomish County Health District had to finish up before everything went to the Snohomish County, to Snohomish County. It's a little confusing. On the 31st, I met with Congresswoman Susan Delbene. She came to Mountlake Terrace, our senior center, and had a great time at listening. She really does listen. That evening, I went to trunk or treat in our town center. And on the 1st, I attended the South County Mayor's meeting. So now this is just the South County Mayors. And we really have a great time exchanging ideas and everything at that meeting. And that afternoon, I met with the auditor, excuse me, the auditor with our city manager. And then on the 2nd, I attended the community transit meeting. On the 3rd, I attended the Seashore Transportation Forum. I don't know why, it's one of my favorite meetings, but it's once a month at 7:30 in the morning on the first Friday. And maybe next year, we'll have a person taking over that, hopefully with Councilmember Payne Donovan. Probably won't be me. It won't be our mayor for Tim. On the 8th, I attended the executive and mayor's meetings. So there are 3 meetings for mayors in 1 month. Well, some of this is not every month. And then on the 9th, I attended the Dawson Place fundraiser. And last year and this year, I sat at a table with Congressman Rick Larson and his wife. So she attends that because she was a caseworker in her former life. And on the 11th, Saturday, I attended a veterans program at our Mountlake Terrace Plaza. And they had a bagpiper entertain, and he knew Will Van Rye. And I said, oh, Will Van Rye used to practice his bagpipes right across the street in our Veterans Park on his lunch break. So it was kind of neat. And for those who don't know who he is, Van Rye Boulevard is named after him. And on the 13th, I attended the Shahi Tandoori Grill and Bar ribbon cutting. And my God, they really did want us to stay for dinner. None of us could leave. They really, really wanted us to taste the food. Go ahead.
And I just want to add, the mayor was a rock star in that setting. It was absolutely amazing. Everybody wanted to take photos with you. It was, what were we, like little willows in the side there? Hey, we're over here too. But the mayor's like, wow. They're like, oh my God, the mayor. It was awesome.
Thank you. And then I came over here to City Hall for the Vision 2044 open house and was really pleasantly surprised to see the attendance. We really had a lot of people here. On the 14th, I missed my first meeting because my laptop didn't work, and I had to bring it in here. So I was going to attend the Snohomish County Health Department, a different meeting for that, but I brought it into IT, and it really was a problem, and they got it fixed. But it wasn't me pushing the wrong buttons. There was really a problem with it. And that is the end of my report. So we went 5 minutes over on that, but next is new business. Does anyone have any new business? Councilmember Woodard.
Real quick, I mentioned Rise Up and the work with preschool. It's just a reminder how important early childhood education is, and want to charge the city manager with looking at how do we stack up in terms of inviting in those types of resources. We know that there's a need here in Mountlake Terrace. We've seen that throughout time. We've done surveys. We know that that shows up on the county's large list of concerns, but specifically here as well. So just want to make sure that we have policies in place and friendly to anyone trying to build a business like that.
I do know that I've been asking Cocoon House to come in and talk, and they take care of homeless students in the schools. And they're in Everett, but they have a what do you call that, homestay. So we can, people in Mountlake Terrace can help open up their homes to kids who are homeless. One of those homeless kids that stayed at Cocoon House just got elected to the Everett School Board. So I'm so proud of Charles on that one. And so we're going to get representation, hopefully from a lot of places. But I would like to have Joe come and talk from Cocoon House on what they do. And we can really help them out in South County with this program that they have. Anyone else with new business? I know we all want to go home. Okay, so if there isn't anything else, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. We're adjourned.